Good morning guys, it's Mr. Landers here, and I want to do another video. It's number 4 about the subject that is parental alienation. And once again, I aim to do no harm. I just put out videos that hopefully, if people are experiencing a breakdown in their relationship with their children and they have no explanation of why and how it's happened, these videos are just to put some light, and maybe for the parents that are suffering through this, that they can start doing their own diligence after and finding out actually what's going on in their lives. So in the first 3 videos, we mentioned about the personality type of an ex that would be more inclined to go down this path of revenge and try to alienate your children from you. Then we spoke about some little signs to look for and how we must look after ourselves. And then we spoke about we must take the extremity off the child because of the stress point in their psychological well-being. But when I went to bed last night and I woke up, there was another thing that came to me, and I thought I'll put it out there in this video. One of the easiest mistakes or easiest paths to go down is we can start feeling resentful towards the child that's being alienated. So if you think about it, as we parent in a normal way, we know that we are looking after a child that's totally dependent on us to about 18 years, 19 years of age. And then we start getting rewarded in a sense of pride of our child, a healthy relationship, even if it's from afar, if they've gone off to college, etc., etc. But let's say the alienation started, say, at the age of 10 or the age of 11, 12, 13, 14, even before. What generally happens is you still have all the hard work, raising the child, supporting the child, financially, emotionally, etc., etc. But what you're getting is abuse back in return. So let's say the alienation has started, and the child now is just being so abusive and awkward, and is just creating mayhem. This is now if the alienator has really got into the child, really managed to get the hooks in, and now the week that you're spending with your child or the time you're spending with your child, it's just horror. What can build up is obviously frustration, because there's a passive holding back of an emotion. As we mentioned in the other videos, that we're to try not validate ourselves, we're to try not go over the top of our discipline. So there's almost a suppression of how we should truly be able to express ourselves, but we're being hyper alert, hyper vigilant, that we can't push down too hard on the child, because it's going to push them further away. Think of even in a healthy relationship, your teenage daughter or teenage son, they're going out with a local bad boy or the local bad girl, and the more you say, don't see this person, you're going to push them more into the arms of that person. But when you're facing alienation, there has to be an outpouring of emotion somewhere, because the energy that's building up in you will cause you secondary issues with your health. And when that generally happens with people who aren't allowed to express a feeling, an emotion, sometimes it can create bitterness and resentment. And the last person you want to be directing that at is the child. You want to be releasing that. And this is why I say that you must look after yourself in a physical capacity. And that means, sounds crazy guys, if you had to take up some kind of combat sport, if you had to put a boxing bag into your space, if you had to go to the gym, if you had to take runs, if you had to go on walks, and if you had to scream out that emotion, if you have to let that intensity out of your body, your temple, because you will have an outburst. And it may not even be directed at the child. It could be directed, let's say, okay, good example. Let's say the alienation's hit fever point. You've had to then go and see a mediator who's trying to bring the relationship back to centre point. They're inexperienced because it's stealthy abuse. And then what happens is, if you haven't dispersed of that inner frustration, that inner torment in a way that allows the energy out, you can be playing again right into the hands of the alienator, because you could let out a frustration in a comment, in a remark, in the way you hold yourself, in your energetical sphere, in front of the narcissistic partner or the mediator, or let's say a teacher, or let's say anyone that's observing you from afar. So tips would be, as we said, journaling. An expression of our emotions would be sleep well, eat well, prepare yourself, do all the things we talked about to minimise as much playing into the hands of the unhealthy parent, the alienator parent, and then hit that treadmill, hit them streets, hit the boxing bag, allow yourself, go into music, go into creativity, go into anything that you can express and release and allow the energy to go out. Join groups of people who are facing the same type of pain and torment that you are facing. But please, I do implore you in this message is, try not to join groups where there's an echo chamber. Meaning, if you step into a group and you get out of it what you need, support, you can tell your story. Be aware of not to try and recite the story and then it's fueled by another person's resentment and anger, because we're all at different stages. Our clients are all at different stages of where they are within that realms of abuse. And if you stay stuck with people who are unable to get beyond, and I need to say this, guys, a lot of parents who have been alienated from their children don't move beyond it because it is so painful. It's heartbreaking. It's something that, it's like grieving for someone that's still alive, and that's the hardest thing. You look into the eyes of these people who have suffered at the hands of these, I call them child abusers, in the sense of what they're doing to their children. And you look into their eyes of the people who are suffering, and there's everyday torment there. And I think they're the bravest, kindest, most strongest people that are walking this earth at the moment. To actually lose a child that's still alive must be one of the most painful emotions known to man. And I say it needs to be made aware of what these people who are abusing their own children for their own perverse gratification of revenge on a healthy parent. So as I said, a recap on this, just go and to a place where you can let that energy out. Do not let that build up. Do not let that interrupt your nervous system. Do not let that hurt any part of you that you can avoid it hurting. Once again, thank you for listening. My name's David Landers. I'm a coach and a trainee psychotherapist, accreditations. Have a great day. And anyone out there that's suffering, or anyone out there that's feeling that pain, my heart goes out to you, always.